නමෝ තස් භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස් භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස් භගවතෝ අරහතෝ Samma Sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened one. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello everyone, welcome to our Thursday evening guest lecture series, and today is our guest lecture number 37. Dhamma USA is organizing this special venture to benefit the many enthusiastic learners of Buddhism relating to contemporary Buddhism and other issues. Every Thursday at 6 p.m., some guest speakers from around the world will share their wisdom on various topics related to Buddhism and life in general. Through Dhamma USA YouTube channel, Facebook page, and other social media platforms. We welcome the lay Buddhist scholars and practitioners from around the world as resource persons to join us in this wholesome venture. So today we do have a very special topic, significance of Buddhist pilgrimage towards humanistic approach. And the speaker today is Rahul Rao. He's also a very good scholar. He's doing his PhD, and his research topic is education and culture from Pali literature, its pragmatic role in revival of Buddhism, study Department of Pali, University of Mumbai. Rahul also has achieved his MPhil, Master of Philosophy in Pali from Mumbai, University of Mumbai. He has also accomplished 2 master degrees, Master of Arts in Pali, University of Mumbai, and Master of Arts in Buddhist Studies, Nagpur University. And he does have quite a few more other academic achievements. He is a visiting faculty at Department of Pali, University of Mumbai, and resource person at Department of History, University of Mumbai, and he is more familiar with Pali and Buddhism. So his research interests are Sutta literature, Theravada Buddhism, Buddhist pilgrimage sites, Buddhist history, Buddhist education, socially engaged Buddhism, and Buddhist arts and architecture, Buddhist archaeology and culture. So we are very honored to have Rahul Rao to Dhamma USA platform. I would like to welcome Rahul. How are you doing today?
Wonderful Bante, Bandai Bante ji.
Right. So I am very happy to have you here with us, and also in order to maybe start off, I know pilgrimage, Buddhist pilgrimage is your topic, and Buddhist pilgrimage has been so closely merged with India and many other Buddhist countries. So I personally have visited all those Buddhist sites, but I have missed out some of the sites, like in some of the caves in Maharashtra and Ajanta, Ellora. I have missed out, and I think most of the caves in Maharashtra I have missed, but otherwise I have covered up most of the Buddhist sites in India. But I would have really liked to learn more about your academic presentation today. I think that will be very helpful to many people too, because in Mahaparinibbana Sutta, for example, the Buddha has mentioned we as Buddhists, we have to visit the four sites, right? The
That's
place
right.
where Prince Siddhartha was born, Kapilavatthu or Lumbini, and then the place where he was enlightened, Buddha Gaya, and also the place where he preached his first sermon, Varanasi, Isipatana Migadaya, and then the place where he passed away, the great passing away took place, Mahaparinibbana, took place in Kusinagar or Kusinara. So apart from that, there are other places too that many Buddhist people they would like to go to, pay a visit and pay respect to those places where the Buddha and many other Arahanta Mahasangha members were residing, and they were such holy places. For example, when I went to Savatthi, where I think it's called Sahet Mahet or something today.
That's correct.
So the place where the Buddha lived most of his lifetime, like 19 vasas, rains retreat out of the 25 in Jetavana Monastery and Ubbarama Monastery. So Jetavana Monastery is located in Savatthi, so it's a very auspicious place, holy place for all the Buddhists, and also Sanchi, and many other wonderful places. Recently, we also had a chance to talk to some other people, like scholars from Andhra Pradesh. He talked about Professor Reddy. He was talking about Nagarjunakonda and other places in Andhra Pradesh. So I
Amravati.
think
Amravati.
it is very wonderful to hear from you also about some other places like Maharashtra. Um, you're from Maharashtra, right?
That's right. Yes. Yes, Bante.
Right. So would you like to explain a little bit more about your studies, and then I would like to invite you to uh, your presentation.
Okay. Yes, to know about me, as you've already informed right now, my name is Rahul Rao, and I'm presently in the Department of Pali from past 6+ years into teaching faculty there, and have completed my masters in both the streams of Pali and Buddhist studies, and also about the into archaeology. I have a good touch upon the archaeology of Buddhism or Buddhist art and architecture, and also did participated in the some part of exploration and excavation in the course of time while I was studying archaeology from Rajasthan in Udaipur. And there was a project which I was working upon, that was the Buddhist caves or the Buddhist rocket architecture, its preservation and restoration process in the archaeological studies. And here in the Buddhist studies and Pali, I'm more into the pilgrimage aspect and the how the education, the lay people education can be explored for the benefit of humanity, and what kind of culture can be developed to revive the teaching of Buddha in in the homeland or across the Asia, from the aspects of the pilgrimage studies, relic studies, or it can be how the
how the
sanghas
sanghas
can go
can go
parallel
parallel
and
and
explore the
explore the
teachings to
teachings to
all the
all the
local
local
people
people
and give
and give
them
them
into
into
the
the
seeds of
seeds of
Dhamma within
Dhamma
them.
within them.
So this
So
was
this was
the
the
basic which
basic
I
which
was
I was
about to
about to
explain.
explain.
And as
And
you have
as you have
already
already
mentioned,
mentioned,
how
how
the
the
pilgrimage
pilgrimage
aspect can
aspect can
also be
also be
touched
touched
upon the
upon the
Maharashtra,
Maharashtra.
as the Maharashtra is a land of coming into these Sayadri ranges, which has huge potential of carving out a magnificent Buddhist rocket architecture from spanning from the second century BC till the ninth or 10th century. So just to name some of them, the rocket sites into Maharashtra, which has a executive experience. The name I can suggest is the Karla, Bhaje, Bedse, Kondane, Kaneri, Tanhale, Ajanta, Ellora, Pittalkhora, Katokach, Aurangabad, Agashiv, Kuda, Gandarpale, and the name is unending because in the entire Maharashtra region we have 1000 plus Buddhist rocket sites spanning every 30 kilometers each. So once whenever a person or whenever the merchant or traders or the monks who has choose to travel through the trade route via sea or via the main road or trade route area, so every 30-35 kilometers there is to be a Buddhist monastery or the Buddhist vihara comprising of a chatyagraha or a stupa or the viharas, and it was expanding with the influence of merchants and traders, which brought a unique exposure for the economy of the Buddhist India, or we can say the Greater India. Yes, Bante?
That is so. I was also wondering why we don't have any Buddhist traditional Buddhist pilgrimage. Normally, they concentrate on UP, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar. And I was wondering, like, even I have heard only Ajanta, Ellora, and Aurangabad, and all the other wonderful caves that you mentioned, I have never heard. I definitely want to explore more when I visit Asia next time. But yes, I think there should be some way, like the Maharashtra government or tourism board or even the Buddhist community, somewhere, somehow, you have to promote this beautiful state of Maharashtra where I think most of the Buddhist people are concentrated currently. So I think it will make more sense for the Buddhist community from around the world to have a look more on those archaeological sites and caves too. Thank you for sharing. I think I would like to invite you to continue your presentation, and later on we can discuss more.
Certainly, certainly. Thank you, Bante. So, Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I welcome everybody for this for the presentation today, and the topic is significance of Buddhist pilgrimage towards humanistic approach. So, in this entire PPT, I will try to touch upon some of the points, and in a different, I'll try to elaborate in the context. They are the introduction and its importance, what are the references we come across from the Pali sources or the Pali literature, as we all know the major places of pilgrimage, but in a different purview we understand here, and also the eight Atta Mahathani places. Later on, from four it became eight, eight it became to 16, and it multiplied from time and again. then the historical of each places, who were the ancient pilgrims who had traveled across these places, and due to their travelogue history, we are able to revive it at once again. So why this pilgrimage has a spiritual impact on the learning and inviting us to walk on this footsteps of the Buddha, and what kind of activities we need to perform, or we in depth try to perform there at this pilgrimage sites, and later we concluded to this presentation. So starting here, I'll just there's a picture which you can see here. It's known as the Buddha Pada, Buddha Pada, a Siri Pada. These are the footprints which are in numerous aspects seen in the northern part of India, or the Majjhima Desa, where the Buddha walked, spent his more than around 45 years of time span of life, spent the teachings of Buddha in all the direction, all the four direction. So this Buddha Pada is from nearby the Bodh Gaya site, presently in one of the Mahat palace. We can see this Buddha footprints, and similar Buddha footprints are also in the Bodh Gaya Mahavihara temple. And later on, this Buddha Pada, as we can see on a black rock, cut into a carve into a black rock with the golden leaves are pasted here by the pilgrims coming from the Thailand, Burma, Sri Lanka. But similar Buddha footprints are also can be seen into the various carvings or at Sanchi, or we can see also at Bharud, and as we have mentioned in the southern part of India at Nagachakonda, Amaravati, Fanigiri, and many more. So, for a basic introduction of what is pilgrimage, so we know from the as per the Oxford Dictionary, the word is derived from a word called pellegrine, and it developed in time and again to a context word called pilgrimage. So, in a simplified manner, the pilgrimage meaning, such as a religious journey, a journey to a place of particular interest, or it can be about of a significance, journey made by a pilgrim, because this place has a holy aspect, and such journey towards a shrine or sacred place gives us a different kind of aura. A pilgrimage is also a journey to such a sacred place, motivated by a devotion. What kind of devotion is? It is about a saddha. Although the term may be applied to a meditative search for a new spiritual experience, which sometimes we understand as prolonged wanderings, who just travel to a place of a nostalgic meaning for an individual. So here the word refers to a physical journey to a distant site. So in the context of the Buddhist literature or the Buddhist studies, so the Buddha used the word as chaitya. So when you come across in the Pali canonical literature, so in the canonical literature we come across a word called chaitya. So a chaitya charika. So what is a chaitya? A chaitya is a stupa which enshrines the relics of the Buddha, the Sarira Dhatu of the Buddha, or the Pachaka Buddha, or the Arhanta, or the Chakravati Raja. So we also have the relics of the Sarira relics. Apart from that, we have the Paribhogika relics. Then we have Paribhogika relics comprises the things used by the Buddha, Samyak Sambuddha, or his disciples, and over that use things. It can be a alms bowl or the chivara, which or the senasan on which the stupa has been built or a chaitya has been constructed. Similar, we also have a chaitya that is called the Uddesika Chaitya, where a specific sutta or importance has been given from that place, a location, so where the stupa has been built up. And similar, we have the memorial stupa or the votive stupa. So here the Buddha used the word as chaitya, charika. So traveling to a chaitya, it can be a chaitya, it can be a pagoda, it can be a thupa, it can be a chotin, it can be a chedi, it can be a dagoba. So the name differs from country to country, but the essence is the same. So it is said to be prepared so that the devotee could have a place to visit and pay the humble respect. But here, the Chaitya is also a place where a person goes to apply his consciousness towards the Dhamma or to the Dhamma. So, one when meditates at the Chaitya, he acquires the wonderful merit. He develops his paramita, and this becomes a guiding force for him to travel on the path of spirituality, which certainly develops into humanistic development within his life. So the whole process of pilgrimage becomes bigger and bigger because pilgrims wanted to visit each and every place connected with the Buddha, towards the Dhamma, and to his chief disciples. So why indeed it is important to go of a pilgrimage? So in an overview, the question arises in every person's why we need to go to pilgrims. The question arises why pilgrimage is essential. The search of the spiritual quest or the thirst which we are longing for, and this can be completed while on the journey of pilgrimage, just as the pilgrims from the early centuries towards the modern pilgrims as we right now in the 2023, on the span of 2660 years of time period. So we modern pilgrims also leave our home, families, and the comforts, the luxuries, in order to a journey to sacred places for peace and loving kindness. Here the peace is about the khanti and the metta. Many of us go on pilgrimage so that we can clear our obstacles, understand the correct vision of life, purification for the suffering. The suffering comprises of the mental sufferings, this mental sickness and ailments. Meditate from the stressful life or deprived by love or depressed due to some incident which you currently live in such huge thoughts or the cycle of thoughts. Purification of negative karma and request for the holy blessings. We try to circumambulate the Padakina, the holiest sites, and increase one's own merits because of the positive energy and the aura that it exudes and the offerings we offer at this such pilgrimage sites. So here the entire focus, the touch is around the spirituality, and spirituality leads to humanity, and this both the term has humanistic approach. It is linked to it's linked to the emerging field of transpersonal psychology that connects with the spiritual behavior. Primarily, This type of therapy encourages a self awareness and a reflexivity that helps the individual change the state of mind and behavioral pattern from one set of reactions to a healthier one with more productive self awareness and thoughtful actions. And this can be applied in the context of pilgrimage in a larger scope. Essentially, this approach allows the merging of mindfulness and behavioral therapy with the positive social support of the surrounding. Make an individual more productive, energetic, and empowered by gaining confidence about their own psychological, biological, physical assets in life. Or when he applies it in in the aspect of pilgrimage or meditation, and when he comes back, returns, so he has a lot of energy to reactivate himself in and achieve his goals. Places of pilgrimage contains the relics of venerable masters and the positive energy left behind by them in such a wonderful, pleasant surrounding. So, in the overview, as we know, with the references we have come across from the Tipitaka and direct aspects, that is from the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, from Dignikaya, we also get the information from the Samvejaniya Sutta, that is from the Anguttara Nikaya, and we also get information from the Mahapadana Sutta, that is also from the Dignikaya. And apart from that, we also get touch upon the life of the Buddha, where how he reached the places and how he tries to define the places from the Arya Pariyasena Sutta too. So in this, in a brief, I can say this is the pilgrimage map, as we are all aware of the middle land or the middle way, or the Majjim Desa, or the greater Magadha, where the Buddhism spanned and flourished at a larger scale. So we have a lot of sites around this region, touching upon the place from Nepal, and more across the Bihar region and Uttar Pradesh. But this pocket is not completed unless we also touch upon the places of Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Orissa, Bengal, Maharashtra. So the entire India, starting from the tip of Kashmir, the end of Kanyakumari, a lot of Buddhist sites are dotted at each location. So when we see about the entire India, so every places from north to south or east to west, from Gujarat to Bengal, all the sites are covered in a executive way. So here are the major places of pilgrimage. So as we know, the Lumbini, the birthplace of the Siddhartha Gautama, Bodh Gaya, the place of the enlightenment, the Bodhi, Sarnath, Isipatana, Megadaya, the birthplace of the sublime Dhamma, Kusinara, the place of Mahaparinibbana. So in general, we understand the place of the birth, the Buddha or the Bodhi. We know it is come across, that is the Bodh Gaya, the place of the Dhamma. Then we understand Sarnath. So in this way, we understand which places has what importance. And to expand this, in the phase of time, the word was coined as Atta. Atta means eight, Maha means great, and Thanani means places. So we have a place in Maharashtra, and that is called as Thana. So we all come across how the words from the Pali word are still intact across the region of India, and each places or each name of the villages or the city or the nagara has some context in the Buddhist doctrine. So we understand the word as thanas, the locations. So here it is Rajgah, or we known as Rajgir, Savati, that is the Jetavana Arama, the place of the maximum Varsavasa, or also known as a rain retreat, Vaishali or Vishala, Kapilavastu. So here we have two Kapilavastu, one in the area of Nepal and one in within the Indian peripheral, and Sankisa. So here, so we understand why the importance is given to towards the four Buddhist sites, major sites, and also towards the eight places. So when we see these panels, such panels are also kept in various museums across the continent. We have panels from the Gandhara School of Art. We have panels from the Sanchi School of Art, or or the school we can say in which flourish within the central India. And these panels are kept in various museums. So on the left hand side, there's a panel which depicts the four important events of the Buddha's life. So we can see the birth, the enlightenment, the teachings, and the Mahaparinibbana. And on the right, we can see the eight important aspects or the events which touched upon the Buddha's life, and that also became a pilgrimage site for the coming period of time. And this are being carved on the Sanchi gateway. You can see it out, or in different Buddhist rocket sites within the Maharashtra or in the southern part of India in the south. So here there's a reflection or a view of the first Buddhist site which we touched upon, that is the Mahamaya temple, the mother of Siddhartha Gautama, where she has given birth towards birth to Siddhartha. So this is the place, the holiest place right now in at Lumbini, and taken care by the Lumbini Development Trust. So the Lumbini Development Trust has taken the entire overview to safeguard this place and restore towards its own glory. So a lot of activities are run by this Lumbini Development Trust at this location. So in this picture, we can see a pond here, or known as Pokharni, the water pond. We can see the stupas around there. You can also see on the left hand, that is the Ashokan pillar, which doesn't has a capital here, and the Mahamaya temple. So to give a summarize about Lumbini, Lumbini means lovely, is in the foothills of the Himalaya. This was a beautiful garden full of green and shady shal trees, or shal ruksh. So we see through different panels where a female is holding a branch of a shal tree. So that pictorial is about the Mahamaya, the mother of Siddhartha, holding the branch of a shal tree and giving a birth to Siddhartha. So this kind of panels are very much carved and Gandhara School of Art or Mathura School of Art or uh, Sadha School of Art, various School of Art, we can see this kind of panel across the region. This is the place where Queen Maya Devi or Mahamaya, on her way to her parents' village, stopped here in this pleasure garden while she was moving ahead from Kapilavath to Devdah. So this region comes in the mid of this region. So we come across inscription which has been in the period of Emperor Ashoka, in the Ashokan period of time. An inscription has been, or an edict has been kept placed here, carved on the uh, rock pillar. It's mentioned there as hither Buddha Jate Shakyamuni. This is the place where the Buddha Shakyamuni was born. So from this archaeological evidence, we come across the place, the direct place of the birth of the Siddhartha Gautama. So this important line provides an unique information of a person who is indeed who spent his life across the region, and in the span of 80 years was taken into Mahaparinibbana. So we get an information of a human personality from this inscription, Hither Buddha Jate Shakyamuni. So what can be seen there or venerated? So as I mentioned, the Ashokan pillar, which is now being kept and barricade there in that region to protect. The inscription is being carved around nearby, so people can directly read out in from the Brahmi script and from the translation there. So I mentioned there was the sacred pond and the sanctorium of the birthplace, the place, the inner chamber of the Mahamaya temple had the sanctorium, the right spot where the birthplace of the Buddha or the birthplace of Siddhartha Gautama was taken. And this kind of excavation was done by Robin Cunningham. And we also come across an image of Queen Mahamaya, the various Buddhist temples, a lot of ancient monasteries, a lot of stupas across the region, also a sacred Bodhi tree in that region of Lumbini. And this side is uh, governed by the UN, has an heritage of UNESCO. Second, with the site of pilgrim is the Mahabodhi Vihara. So we can see in the midst of the vast jungle, touching from the Niranjana river and spanning in the region of Gaya, a huge temple, or the start of a temple architecture, or start of a pyramid temple architecture starts from here, from the Mahabodhi Vihara. A similar Mahabodhi Vihara structure can also be seen in the region of Jharkhand. A similar Mahabodhi temple, but it doesn't right now doesn't have a Buddha statue. But when it was there, it do had a Buddha statue in that Mahabodhi. Similar temple or similar vihara, similar structure in Chhattisgarh. This is the place of enlightenment where Siddhartha Gautama meditated and he attained Bodhi, the Siri Siri Mahabodhi tree. And this saplings, the original sapling, which is right now at Sri Lanka, Anuradhapura. And one more sapling is also in the Jetwana, known as Anand Bodhi tree. So what's there at Bodh Gaya? Bodh Gaya is located around 10 kilometers south of the famous city Gaya, which is at Bihar. This sacred temple of Gaya is 180 feet, has a huge tower. So this such kind of tower structure, the cylindrical structure of temple architecture, when we resemblance in the southern part of India at Tamil Nadu or Kerala, we come across that how this kind of architecture developed in the southern area. The Buddha attained supreme enlightenment under the Bodhi tree here at this place on the full moon day of Vaisakha, which roughly has May. In this very place, the Samma Sambuddha, the awakened one, the compassionate one, the light of the world, the Supreme Buddha, attained imperturbability, Nibbana, and became the Samma Sambuddha of our era. So here the qualities of the Buddha we can come across. So what we can see here, that is the Siri Siri Mahabodhi tree, and as I already mentioned, the sapling was taken in the period of Emperor Ashoka, when her daughter Sangamita Theri taken the saplings when invited by his brother Mahinda Thera and the king of Ceylon, a king of Sri Lanka, Devanapaya Tissa, invited at Sri Lanka. Mahabodhi temple. The Mahabodhi temple has a huge Buddha statue within the sanctorium, and the entire Buddha has been carved in various mudras. It can be Varda Mudra, Dhyan Mudra, Singhasan Mudra. Different mudras can be seen on the outer panel of the Mahabodhi Vihara. In that region, we also have a stupa by the name of Sujata. Sujata, as we come across in the literature, prior attaining the enlightenment, Siddhartha Gautama, when he was meditating in the region of Dungeshwari caves, leading to high austerity practices for more than around 6 years. So when one day he was meditating under a banyan tree, and there Sujata offered the rice milk to him. We also has museum in that region, and that museum still has the Vedika, the earliest Vedika of that period, which was confined to the Mahabodhi Vihara or the Mahabodhi tree premises. And different countries, world Buddhist Viharas is also at these places, and this has also been a UNESCO site. And then this is the place of Chaukandi Stupa. This place is in Sarnath. This place reference we come across from the Pali literature. The place or the meeting place where the Buddha met his former companions, who now known as the Panchavagya Bhikkhu. The five former companions. This is the meeting place, and now it is in name of a Chokandi Stupa. Dhammek Stupa, as we all know, the importance of the Sarnath, Isipatan, Megadaya, the Deer Park, Isipatan. A lot of rishi or muni who have spent a lot of years at this place, the holiest place, also known as Banaras, Varanasi. So here the Buddha gave his first sermon, and through this sermon, when the enlightened, the first nectar of enlightened, the first state, a taste of enlightenment. And this way, the cycle of the Buddha's teaching flourished and still continuing. The wheel of Dhamma started turning. So at Sarnath, this wonderful site, it's around 12 kilometers from Varanasi, or as per the information when we come across from the Jataka stories, Jataka tales, or Jataka Katha, we come across the name frequently that is called the Banaras. And a lot of many previous birth of the Bodhisattva are taken around this region. So this shows how important is this site. So there is the famous Sarnath statue of the Buddha. So according to the scriptures, after the attainment of enlightenment, the Buddha came to this place seeking his five former companions, namely Kundana, Bhadya, Vappa, Mahanama, and Asaji. The Buddha delivered his maiden discourse, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Buddha had delivered another sermon named Anattalakkana Sutta, meaning the characteristics of soullessness. So the two important sutta which were delivered at this place transform the lives of millions in the coming phase of time. When the turning wheel started, so at this place at Sarnath, we come across the information of the first Panchavagya, later on the Yasa and his friends, and where the entire 60 plus 61 Arhanta, and this Arhanta moved in for the four directions: Charata Bhikkhave, Charikang, Bhujan Hitaya, Bhujan Sukaya, Lokanukampaya, Attaya Hitaya, Adi Kalyanang, Madhya Kalyanang, Parisona Kalyanang. So from here, the Buddha sent his first missionaries to all direction to spread the teachings of Buddha, which later on spread it across the continent in the time of the Mauryan dynasty or the Ashokan Empire. So what we come across at these places at Sarnath, it is the Dhammek Stupa. Dhammek Stupa comes under the consideration of the Uddesika Stupa. An important discourse has been given. So Uddesh. Then we also have see around there as an Ashokan pillar, which has the unique architecture of four back-to-back roaring lions, and this current is the national emblem of Republic of India. And this Ashokan pillar, which as I mentioned to you, the four roaring lions, can also be seen in Sarnath and also as at Sanchi. Then we have a Dharmarajika Stupa, the king of Dhamma. So where the relics were kept, the Sarira relics were once enshrined in the Dharmarajika Stupa. Dharmarajika Stupa is given a name to the stupa which holds the relics, the Sarira relics of the Buddha. So there are plenty of Dharmarajika Stupa across the region of today's India, or in Pakistan, or Afghanistan, or Bangladesh, or at Sri Lanka. Then we have the Chokandi Stupa, which I mentioned, the meeting spot. The Mul Gandhakuti Vihara. Mul means the first. Gandha means fragrance. The first fragrance chamber where the Buddha rested. And we come across a unique, incredible museum at Sarnath. This is the stupa known as the Mahaparinibbana stupa at Kusinara. So in the previous and the earliest one we can see, and behind that that is the stupa that is known as the Mahaparinibbana stupa, and the front temple or the Mahaparinibbana Vihara has a statue in the Mahaparinibbana mudra. So both this vihara and stupa are touched with a space between them, and the place where it was fire, that is called the Mukutta Bandhana Chaitya. So a lot of sites are dotted at the location of Kushinara. So Kushinara is around 52 kilometers from Gorakhpur. So according to the commentaries, it said that the Buddha had a particular three reasons for coming to the small township of Kushinara, where he passed away. So, while moving from the region, when he moved from Vaishali and reached to Kushinara, the entire journey from Vaishali to Kushinara is mentioned in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. So, in the Kushinara, the region was dotted by the Mallas of Kushinara because it was the proper venue for preaching the Maha Suddasana Sutta, where once the Maha Suddasana king was residing at his glory. From his kingdom is to spread the teachings in a pure form towards the subject. Second, because Subhadra will visit him there, and after listening to the sermon, will develop a meditation and become an arhanta while the Buddha was still alive. So this was the second reason who Subhadra who came and met the Buddha, and Buddha directly taught him. And yet 10, as he achieved the bodhi, the enlightenment of arhantaship. Third, the Brahmin Drona will be there after the Buddha's demise to solve the disputes related to the distribution of the relics. So, as we know from the information, or we can also see one panel in the Sanchi gateway where each king have sent his subordinates or minister to collect the relics of the Buddha. So the eight kings from eight different regions, from Magadha, from Ajashatu from the Magadha, Vaishali, the Lichavis from Vaishalis. Uh, we can see from the Mallas from Pawa, the Mallas from Kushinara, and the Brahmins from different region who came across at this place, and later on the Mauryas from Piplavanna. So accordingly, eight kings who had the relics, body relics with them, and the Mauryas of Piplavanna found received the ashes, the embers with them, and the drona. So accordingly, it was 8 plus 2, the earliest stupa built after the Buddha. So what can be seen and venerated here? It is the Mahaparinibbana stupa, the Mahaparinibbana temple. As I mentioned, the Makutta Bandhana or the cremation site, the place of relic distribution too. Also, there's a vihara known as Mata Kunva Vihara and a unique museum displaying the antiquities of this location. Then we come across from the four sides to the spanning of the eight one. The first out of eight is the Gijjakutta, the Rajgir, the Vulture's Peak, from where the Buddha spent a lot of time here at Rajgir, where once it was ruled by King Bimbisara, the father of Ajatasattu. So, spanning from the Rajgir, the location of Nalanda, a unique university, was also the birthplace of, or the village, birthplace of Sariputta, Dhamma Senapati, who was the right hand of the Buddha, or I can say the general of the Buddha Sangha. So, what we come across at Rajgir, they are the Veluvana Arama, the first Arama donated to the Sangha was known as Veluvana Arama, the bamboo grove. And this ancient capital city of the Magadha kings till the 5th century BCE. It also has the Gijakuta, which speak a stupa known by the name as Ajatasattu Stupa, because this stupa was built on the relics of the Buddha, which was taken from Kushinara and built by the king Ajatasattu. And we also come across the University of Nalanda. Now, nearby this Nalanda, today we have Nalanda Mahavihara, from where the teachings of Pali and Buddhist studies are taken into consideration. Also, archaeology, history, ancient Indian cultures, languages. So, what can be seen across this region? There are the Saptaparni caves, the first, this kind of caves where the first Buddhist council was held in this region under Mahakasapa. We also have the fort of the Rajgirs. You can see the fort walls around the region. We come across a monastery by the royal physician known as Jivaka Arama. And as I mentioned, the first residential international university in the world, parallel Nalanda, we have Pathashila, Vikramshila, Odantapuri, and the name goes on. And this kind of universities were later developed by the Pala Empire, the museums across the region. Then we come across the Jetavana monastery. This location has been known today as Savatti or Shravasti, Sahid or Mahid. At this place, where the Buddha has spent a lot of, almost around 60% of his time at this location. It's a huge, a lot of stupas, viharas has been dotted in this region. A huge but beautiful place to visit while at pilgrimage. So what is that Savati, known as Jeta? Now the Jet is the prince Jeta Kumara, the son of King Pasandi. Vana means forest, and Arama, the resting place. So a lot of name we come across starting from the place. It can be about a tree, or it can be given by a merchant, a trader, or a king, or queen, or a lady. So this name we come across, and then we have known as the forest or the Arama has been touched upon. So Shravasti or a Savati, a city of ancient India, was one of the six largest city, the Mahajanpada, the democratic. Today, it's located in the region 18 kilometers west of Balrampur in the Gonda region of Uttar Pradesh. It is identified with the name of Sahid, that is Jetavana, donated by a millionaire known as Sudatta. later be known his name by Anathapindaka, who once, when he was at Rajgir, at his sister's place, he came across information of the Buddha, and when he interacted, he built a place by laying down the gold coins at this region, and with this, the place will later known as Jetavana Arama. And we also have Mahid as the city, the Shravasti city, which divides the two regions by a river called as Achiravati, now known as Rapti River. So the Buddha stayed here or preached here for 19 years in this fragrant chamber, the Gandakuti at Jetta's Grove in Savatthi, and 6 in the monastery called Pubba Arama. And the chief patrons of this region were Anathapindaka, Vishaka Migarmata, Suppavassa, and King Pasandi of Koshalanar. So, what can be seen and venerated here? That is the Jetavana Monastery, the Angulimala Stupa, Anathapindaka Stupa. Here we come across a stupa where the Yamaka Patiharya, where the Buddha has done a twin miracle, where he was seen in a, in a multiple form, and apart from that, it's also he was also seen from where one body was pouring fire, another was pouring water. And also, as I mentioned, the Gandakuti, the fragrance chamber, and this place was still active till the 12th or the 16th century, where the pilgrims from various countries, from Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Burma, used to still wander at this place for visit. And also we have an Ananda Bodhi tree, as I mentioned, the earliest saplings taken from the Bodh Gaya to Jetavana Arama. The relic stupa, the earliest relic stupa excavated and today preserved at Patna Museum, which has the relics body of the Buddha. This is a place known as at Vaishali by Lichavis, a stupa at Koluva, the place where the first Bhikkhuni monastery, or we can also come across a swastika monastery, can be seen in this place. The place where the Bhikkhuni was ordained into the Sangha, and the Bhikkhuni center flourished by Mahapajapati Gautami. So at Vaishali, Vaishali is around 55 kilometers from the capital city of Patna. This region has been recognized by the historians as one of the world's first democratic republics, with an elected assembly of representatives flourishing in the 6th century BCE. It was related to the Vajis and the Lichavis of Vaishali. It was here the Vaishali that the Buddha delivered the jewel discourse, Ratana Sutta, which was an important sutta in today's time too, the epidemic or the pandemic too. The Buddha visited Vaishali frequently and most time dwell in the great wood in the hall with the peak roof known as Mahavanne Uttagarashala and Ambapali Grove. Both ordination and uh, Pabaja and Upsampada were granted first to his foster mother, Mahapajapati Gautami, and then to the 500 Shakti ladies at this place, same place at Vaishali. Things can be seen and monitored here. The relic stupa, as I mentioned, and these relics right now are in the custody at Patna Museum. We also come across a lion pillar and a huge stupa at Kolua. There's a tank called as Ram Kund and Kutaga Shala Vihara, the monasteries, Ambapali monasteries, and plenty of upcoming Bhikkhu training centers in this region. So here we come across the next site, that is the Tilarakot. As I mentioned, this Tilarakot is a site right now in the Himalayan regions of Lumbini and protected or preserved by Lumbini Development Trust. So, what is the Tilarkot known as in Kapilavastu? So, Kapilavastu is the capital of the Sakyan clan and the seat of Shuddhadana's capital. So, according to the literature, we come across information the Buddha or the Siddhartha Gautama has spent his childhood, and plenty of palaces were built, and later on, different sites, important sites of his childhood were marked as Uddesika sites there. It is also the location of the Rahula Pabaja, the inheritance given by the Buddha to his son Rahula, the site at Kudan. At the same time, the Kapilavastu is the site of massacre of the Shakyans by the king Vruddhabha of Koshala, which had taken place during the lifetime of the Buddha. So there's a place in Kudan where the first chivara was offered to the Sangha or to the Buddha by the mother Mahapajavati Gautami. And here we come across the place where Rahul Pabaja and Nanda Pabaja was also taken into consideration at Kapilavatu or Kapilavastu. This is the place called Piparawa, Piparawa and Ganvaria, two adjacent sites in the region of Uttar Pradesh. And here we also come across the relic stupa of Siddhartha Gautama or Shakya Muni. And this relics presently a casket has been kept at Delhi Museum, and the casket relics are kept in the Delhi Museum. The casket are in the Indian Museum at Kolkata. So the Kapilavastu Piprava, now known as Piprava, lies 20 kilometers from Siddharth Nagar. In this present day, Kapilavastu comprises of several villages, and the chief among them are Piprava and Ganvaria. A large stupa stands at this ancient site, in which is said to have the enshrined the bone relics of the Buddha. The presence of these relics are testified by ancient Brahmi inscriptions discovered at this spot. So there's a documentary which you see around YouTube, The Bones of the Buddha, which move around the story of the relics from Piprava and how it was deciphered and how it was excavated. We come across information from this region. So at this monastery, the word Kapilavatu was found. So we understand the Shakyans who migrated from the Kapilavatu from Nepal to the Kapilavatu of India. And the eighth site, that is the Sankasa or Sankisa. So according to tradition and commentaries, it is believed that Sankisa or the place the Buddha returned to the human realm right after preaching the Abhidhamma to gods in the heaven at Tao Timsa, headed by his mother Maya. According to the literature, the descent of the Buddha took place on the day of Mahapavarana festival. The Sakka, the king Sakka or Indra, provided three ladders for the Buddha's descent from the Mount Sumeru. or Sineru to the earth. So on the right was the ladder of the gold of the good for the gods, the silver ladder for the Mahabrahma as due tune, and the middle, the ladder of jewels for the Buddha. So this was the information of the 8 sites, the 4 earliest sites, which are reference given in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. And in the Mahapadana Sutta, we come across information of the Sarnath, Bodhagaya, Shravasti, and Sankisa. That is the Mahapadana Sutta. Then, who were the pilgrims who spent a lot of time to do which today they come across the exact information, or at least 99.99.99.9 accuracy of the sites through their travelogue history, through inscriptions, walking on their travelogue, walking on their footsteps, and to do which the excavation and restoration of the hidden history of the Buddha's India was primarily brought to light. So we start from Emperor Ashoka's pilgrimage. So we come across information through his edicts that he was on a pilgrimage for more than 256 days, spanning from a different region from northern to south. We have information in the 4th century era. So earlier, the Emperor Ashoka's pilgrim was in 3rd century BCE, before Common Era, and then we have pilgrims from China known as Fahim, who traveled to India, then to Sri Lanka, and then moved to Indonesia in the 4th century Common Era. We also have a pilgrim from China that is known as Huansang, Hongxing, who traveled to entire India, spent his time in learning at Nalanda. He taught at Nalanda and moved back from the same route, the Silk Route, back to China. We also have a Chinese pilgrim called I Tsing, who traveled to India, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Today is known as Java Sumatra region in the 6th century era. And then in the 18th century, we have Sir Alexander Cunningham, who restored the site through the travelogue history, a comparative study from the travelogue of Fayan and travelogue of Huensang, that is C.U. Key, Journey to the West book. And when the site were restored to some extent, uh, a renowned person from Sri Lanka, the founder of Mahabodhi, that is the Anagar Dhammapala, who also visited the site and brought light that the culture and the education to be given from the sites. And we also have the Dr. Baba Ambedkar, who before his last breath been on this 10 days visit to these ancient Buddhist sites or the pilgrimage sites. So Emperor Ashoka, Fayan, Wensang, Aitzing, Sir Alexander Cunningham, and Anagi Dhammapala. So now how this pilgrimage, as I said, pilgrimage is one side of the coin. We should not only see the pilgrimage from the front view, but when we turn the pilgrimage into spiritual aspect, and this spiritual aspect will lead to humanistic approach. So what are the spiritual aspects? That is the first one is saddha, the devotion. The devotion, that is the saddha. So what kind of shraddha or what kind of saddha we should have while being on pilgrimage? So in general, touching upon the context, saddha, the faith within us, the faith, the saddha, the right saddha of understanding, learning, and implementing in a behavioral aspect, that saddha will certainly lead, if in case there is a death. So And that state of mind will certainly lead to the higher realms at the Sugati level. So Buddha has mentioned in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, a pilgrim who faced death while on the journey of pilgrimage and his full with Saddha, so he will certainly born in higher realms. So such kind of Saddha needs to be there within us so that we understand the teaching of Buddha, seeing through the purview of the sights. Apart from Saddha, developing our Saddha, and at this site, we also develop the generosity, that is the Dan Paramita. Dan Paramita at this site. So, what kind of dana? Dana can lead to in every aspect. It can be the food, dana of food, a dana of knowledge, dana of cleanliness, dana of knowledge, dana of behavioral understanding, dana of medical, dana of shramadana, then perfection of morality, shield paramita. So when as a pilgrim we are on the site or moving toward the site to the pilgrimage, so we should see that we follow the sila. Eventually the sila will develop a saddha. Each spiritual aspects are connected in the way how the train engine is connected with each bogie, coaches, which leads to the right direction. So the engine is the saddha, and each saddha touch upon to dana, the coach of dana, the sila, khanti, metta, bhavana, and that the main who drives that is the acharya or the teacher. So the sila is also important for to implement a sila in daily practice on the side, and also when we are leading our life at home, office, at profession level, education level, social level. Apart from that, the main parami which binds all these coaches that is known as perfection of patience, because patience, endurance is important while on pilgrimage. As we see, a lot of pilgrims who travel a lot of distance, a lot of journey to search of truth, search of knowledge, search of enlightenment. The only thing which binds them to reach that side or reach that location is the patience. The Khanti Paramita is more important. And that Khanti develops into bhavana, meditation, or mindfulness by meditating at the site or in that region or that premises or that aura or chanting, recitation of sutta, mesmerizing the Buddha's time. That bhavana leads to metta towards every people around the animal, around the surrounding, around the nature, the loving kindness. And this all can be done when we do nekkhamma, moving out from our comfort, moving out from a luxurious, moving out from the nutshell, nekkhamma, and learning to abide them in the true aspect as it is. And this will be taken into consideration by the guide or the teacher. So, what all activities can be done during the pilgrimage? As I mentioned, the circumambulation of stupa, padakina of stupa while we on pilgrimage, a recitation of each suttas of important aspect of of parallel to that region, parallel to that site, parallel to the teachings coming across in the literature, meditation in bhavana, vipassana meditation or metta meditation, samatha meditation, participation, as I said, in cleanliness drive to keep our heritage intact, to keep our heritage flawless, to keep our heritage clean. Then we do offer, as it mentioned in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, what need to be offered to the stupa: the offering of flowers, of Gandha Mala, Sugandha, Deepa, so offering of flowers, offering of incense, offering of butter lamp, offering of chivara to the Buddha statue, offering of food, the bhojan dana to the sangha, to the laity, offering of requisites, the noble sangha, Arya noble sangha, listening to Dhamma discourses from the noble sangha, and we do purchase some Dhamma books or souvenirs. So as we can see, the offerings done to the Buddha statues by the ladies, the Upasaka, the Upasika, the Bhikkhus, Bhikkhunis, offering of the Bhojan Dana to the Bhikkhu, circumambulation of the stupa, the Mahabodhi Vihara, circumambulation of Mukunda Bandhana Chaitya, offering requisites to the noble Sangha, recitation of Sutta while entering the premises of the Mahaparinibbana Vihara, meditation on pilgrimage sites at Mahabodhi Bodhagaya Vihara, listening to Dhamma discourses at Muldgandakuti Vihara at Sarnath, and in the chamber of the Mahabodhi Vihara. So, in to concise here, see, started from by the Buddha, the pilgrimage coined by the word. The first, the as I said earlier, the word Buddha, sorry, the pilgrimage context was coined first by the Buddha himself. As I said, Charata Bhikkhave, Charikang, Bhojanitaya, Bhojan Sukhaya. To move on direction where the teachings flourish or the seed of teachings are there. So later it was developed by Emperor Ashoka. So today we see in different religions, different sites, how the pilgrimage aspect is developed on a larger scale. It can, as we understand from the Buddhist doctrine, Buddhist history, Buddhist studies, a similar pilgrimage developed in various religion. It can be Char Dham there, it can be Hajj pilgrimage, it can be biblical pilgrimage into Christianity, into Islam, into other religion. So, but at the initial stage, it was started by the Buddha that because the Upasika want to get connected to the purest teaching. So when he or she reaches the site, he directly interacts with the Buddha through the relics, through the teachings, to the Sangha. So he sees the Buddha in the originality as the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, the Tiratana, the jeweler at that location. So that is the binding place. And when that energy come together, the energy of what? The energy of knowledge, energy of behavioral changes. This togetherness of knowledge and behavior develops spirituality development or a humanistic approach in his personal life, in his personal behavior. And this it's all because of Saddha, the Sila, Dana, Khanti, Metta, Bhavana. To conclude here, the spiritual development is done through pilgrimage. So not the only pilgrimage, as I said, it's the outer pilgrimage. The outer pilgrimage should also reflect within inner pilgrimage. Not only just seeing the site or just taking photographs, that's not the only consideration, but inner pilgrimage, purifying the kaya, vacha, mana from raga, dosa, moha towards araga, to adosa, to amoha. to make ourselves purified through right speech, right action, learning historical importance of the ancient places, walking on the footsteps of the Buddha, reviving the Buddhist culture, the Buddhist tradition. When we see how the uh, pilgrims has a bond, has a family, where the culture, each culture assimilate into ocean of the pilgrims. People flock from different countries, from Cambodia, Laos, Western countries, from America, from Europe, from Australia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Indonesia, Vietnam. But when they reach to the sites, they become one. The teaching unites there. The tradition comes together, learning the correct way to venerate the stupa and the relics. Pilgrimage is indeed a bridge towards humanistic approach and the various offering to the noble Sangha. So here I conclude, giving me an opportunity to touch upon. And this such pilgrim was not only confined, as I mentioned, was not only confined to the northern India, part of India, but later on, when the dynasties and various kings, emperors, or merchant traveled through trade route, so such kind of pilgrim center developed in Maharashtra, developed at Gujarat, developed at Madhya Pradesh, developed at Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, developed at uh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, because this site's importance were given mention in the Hunsang diary. So when we see a huge monasteries coming together, a huge place of residential of monks or nuns, so we understand how this site developed. So we have a particular site, as I mentioned, at Ajanta, Ellora, Kaneri, Junnar, such kind of rocket sites in Maharashtra developed on a larger purview. Similar, we have sites at Amravati, Fanigiri, Nagajukonda, at Andhra Pradesh or Telangana region. Similar, we have sites as Sanchi, Satadhara in in Madhya Pradesh. Similar, we have sites at Girnar, Junagadh, Khambalida at Gujarat, Vadnagar at Gujarat, and the list is unending. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
the wonderful and extensive presentation on Buddhist pilgrim sites. Mr. Rahul Rao, thank you so much for this beautiful presentation. Actually, I hope it was done in a different perspective, especially when it comes to the um, pilgrims. It's more to do with the rites and rituals and a lot of saddha and all that stuff. But I think it would have been also important, like the way you did, how important it is for us to think of it in a academic perspective. I think that will also be very helpful. I'm sure in India there are so many archaeologists. Archaeology is inherent in you guys because India is such a large, amazing treasure trove of good archaeology. So it's definitely a lot of people in India are very good. Like in music, I think in dance, and then also archaeology, where to go. And now you also landed on the moon, so much more to learn from India, and very, very happy. And of course, we do have some questions. I think it was a little bit longer time, but I would like to also appreciate all the people who joined us today. And also there are some few questions that I would like to post. Maybe we can discuss on that. So one question here is, how do people prepare for and undertake Buddhist pilgrimage to these Indian sites? Do you have any advice to those people?
Yes, Bante. Should I say? Should I answer, Bante? Oh, yes. So wonderful question from Piangi Vijayaratna. So how do people prepare? So the first preparation starts from Saddha, the faith within us. As I said, the faith should be in the right direction of getting knowledge, and that knowledge should imply be applicable to our behavioral changes. So we should do a background study of each sites, how, and try to make a note where to visit, what to do, how to interact, whom to meet, what resource information we can gather at the much extent from the site, and what cultural practices or ritual practices are taken into consideration at its location, what kind of thought we go across at that site. So this leads to the emotional and physical balance, both parallel to particular site. So now the question is, what kind of Buddhist pilgrimage sites you are into looking forward? As I said, we have the four major Buddhist sites that's in North India, but there are some Buddhist sites known as the Buddhist rock cut sites. So that is the area of Maharashtra or the central India. Or if you're looking for the pocket sites or the Buddhist vihara sites in the southern part of India, or some sites on the trade route of the ancient trade routes leading to the Delhi area from Amravati, from southern part of India to Delhi. So depend on us what kind of sites we are looking for. Are we looking only for a particular state, only from Madhya Pradesh? Because every state within the country of India has lot of potential of Buddhist uh, tourism or Buddhist pilgrimage, and each site has a unique information, unique architecture, unique touch upon from the canonic literature or to its dynasties who have flourished day in day out. So we should try to find out what we are looking into. If you want to study only the art form, or study the aspect of the culture form, or study the inscriptions from this region, or study the life around the sites, it's up to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think as you mentioned, most of the people actually who do visit those sites are from traditional Buddhist countries, and they just mostly visit as I mentioned at the beginning, they visit the four sites and also the some other sites like mostly Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. And I wonder if you also have some programs, some promotion, or maybe even if there is any program between those Buddhist countries. Like for example, um, I think it is so much now, but those days, like when I was in India, early 2000, there were like 80,000 Sri Lankans visiting India every single year. I think it
Correct.
is much more now. So, but we were not familiar with the sites in Maharashtra. Maybe we do have a question about that. What is the best way to organize the pilgrim tour to Maharashtra? How many days will it cost and will it take? And do you have any idea if someone wants to organize a tour to Maharashtra, especially those places that you mentioned, those rock cut caves, those are really, really historic. Do you have any idea how many days it will take and what are the facilities they have? And do you have any system to organize a tour to Maharashtra?
Certainly. So yes, to organize the tour, the pilgrimage sites of Maharashtra. See, as I said earlier, informed that there are around thousand of Buddhist sites in the rock cut sites of Maharashtra. So we need to narrow down which are the best, which all are best, all are the unique sites of Maharashtra, and each site has its own importance. To name some, I want to inform you the first Buddhist rock cut site, which has a Mauryan resemblance directly from the Barabar Lani of Bihar. Similar site in Maharashtra known as Bhaja, the Bhaja caves or the Bhaja rock cut site, which is the earliest form of rock cut site seen in Maharashtra. And more further from the site, there is called a site called Karla, the Karla Buddhist rock cut site, which is the biggest rock cut site in entire Asia, carved into a rock. That is the Karla Buddhist site. And earlier, which I said as Bhaje, we have the memorial stupa, which has highest number of memorial stupa of the of monks, the Arant, whose on relics the stupa has been built in the rock cut form. If you go more further, we have a silent place, a silent isolated place known as Bedse rock cut site, which has a unique Chaityagraha, not of a stupa, but of a vihara, Chaitya Vihara, or I can say a Chaityagraha transformed into a vihara, which has dotted of various uh, motifs of the stupa motifs across the region. So apparently, to spend some time in Maharashtra, I understand it should be around 15 days. 15 days, pointing out some location, starting if you come across at Mumbai. So if you start from Mumbai, you can see some sites either at Kaneri. Kaneri Buddhist rocket site has 110 rocket site in one peripheral area, which also has a beautiful Chatyagraha with huge lot of different carved pillars, unique pillars, and each rocket site at Kaneri has a depiction of all three schools of Buddhism. It can be from the Theravada school, the Mahayana school, and also the Vajrayana school. And that was a unique place where we have inscriptions, or not from the only from the Brahmi inscription, but also inscription from the Persian inscription, the Chinese inscription, or Japanese inscription too in that region. An unique feature of the Kaneri Buddhist rocket site is the 11-headed Avalokiteshvara, which is mostly found in this site itself. Similar raw Avalokiteshvara with 11-headed is found in Japan or China or Vietnam a region. So if you come across in Mumbai, you can touch upon Kaneri. Uh, and one more site, special site in Mumbai is the Kondivita. It is also a parallel site to Bhaje at Mumbai. And we have a Sopara Stupa. The earliest stupa parallel when the Buddha had given his arm bowl, and arm bowl was taken in the life of Buddha itself at Sopara, and the first stupa was built on that arm bowl, known as Paribhogika Stupa. So a similar way we have the Kaneri Stupa, Kaneri Buddhist rocket site, the Kondivata Buddhist site, or the Elephanta Buddhist site, Sopara Stupa. Then we move to Pune, we have Karla, Bhaje, Bedse, and on the way we have Kondane, we have Thanale, Elgol, Patan. If you move to Aurangabad, then we have Aurangabad rocket site, Ajanta, Ellora, Pitolkhora, Ghatokach. If you move to Satara, Sangli, then we have on the way towards Mahad, we have Gandhar Pale, Kuda, and we have at then we move ahead to Nagpur. Then we have Ramtek. Then we have Vijasan. So all the sites, if you proper direction from starting from Mumbai ending to Nagpur, so you'll cover almost around 10 to 12 days. You can properly cover all the sites. So thank you for the question by Yakuza Moon. And each sites are being run by the
Thank you so
MPDC,
much.
the
I think,
Maharashtra Tourism
yeah,
Development Corporation.
so within 2 weeks, then if anyone is interested in learning more about investigating about the Buddhist rock caves in western part of India, I think Maharashtra, particularly Maharashtra and other parts of India. So 2 weeks would be good enough. Thank you so much for this. Maybe yes, they are more to do with maybe lot of Mahayana, and maybe somewhere in Kashmir, where the King Kanishka was ruling. Probably some Buddhist sites should be there. I don't know. And I was also wondering if there is any place, any Buddhist sites in Orissa, and yeah, maybe West Bengal, possible Buddhist sites for them as well. Yeah, I think maybe we can look forward to having some insight from you as well if we have time permits. Maybe I will get back to that, and I think if you can answer this question also, along with that, hopefully you can give a piggyback. What is the rationale behind the placement of Buddhist pilgrimage site in economically underprivileged regions of India? I think, yeah, most of the Buddhist sites are located in such underprivileged areas. Yeah, like they were supposed to be very flourishing, economically very rich areas those days. Do you have any insight into that?
Sure, I will answer this question too. So prior to this answer, I will touch upon the Orissa sites. Yes, the Orissa has a lot of Buddhist sites in that region. To name some is Lalitgiri, Lalitgiri, Ratnagiri, Udayagiri, Dhauli. Then if you come across to Bhubaneswar or to other sites, so they are the Langudi Hills. So there's also called as diamond triangle, where a person may be around for 4 days. 4 days or 3 days is enough to cover the entire Orissa Buddhist site. 3 to 4 days. In 3 to 4 days, he or she can cover the entire Buddhist sites, because Ratnagiri, Udayagiri, Khandagiri, Langudi Hills are all adjacent to each another. So it may take a day or 2 days then that region, and then you can move ahead to Dauli, then you can go to Jagannath, then you can go to Konark, and some other museums there, which has a lot of Buddha statues in that museum, Orissa State Museum, or it also has the Buddha relics in that region. So 3 or 4 days are enough in the Orissa. And by Orissa State Tourism Development Corporation has a lot of facilities available. Same way we have facility available in Maharashtra also by Maharashtra Tourism or other sources. So everything is uh, well done by the government, state government, to explore the sites and bring a lot of glory to the heritage at this location. And coming to this question of the economically, so this was connected with the question which I answer right now. See, every site was once in the ancient India or the Buddhist India, or in the upcoming modern India also, each site is located at a particular place which was connected to a trade route. So trade route was a region where a lot of trading is to happen, and when a lot of trading is to happen, a lot of money is to ponder here, pour from different kings, dynasties, or merchants, traders, noblemen. But now what happened, because these sites are not connected directly to the trade route, so they are isolated. But still, the localites of that region are trying to enhance this site. So an example I'll give you to about is about Maharashtra. One site is known as Junnar. Junnar was a region which was very much isolated, but in that region we come across 200 and almost 300 plus rock cut sites in only one Ferrafella. There are around four different peaks, and each peak, that can be Lenyadri, it can be Shivneri, it can be Manmodi, or it can be Manmodi side, or it can be Suleiman Tikri or Tulja side, Naneghat area. So that entire area was not touched. But when the localite tried to develop the site by providing information, and a lot of archaeological people went there on the site. So similar way, every site, the people of the region knows what important this has. They know if this site brings to light, the economical development of that region will certainly happen, and this will give benefit to the lay people or the community who are depending on the sites. So the Buddhist pilgrimage theory, when there was a report published by Yes Bank, they said the only sites which can develop the country's economy on a larger purview is only because of Buddhist pilgrimage. That's the reason. Lot, it can be G20, it can be different summit taken by the government of India, state government. They try to develop a different type of Buddhist development to each sites. That's the reason we have the Mahaparinibbana Express running across India. And now different states are also trying to touch upon this Mahaparinibbana Express to explore the hidden gem of in their state in the form of Buddha. So this pilgrimage brings a lot of economic development to the state treasury, and also to the central treasury, and to the people around them, with their development in language, development in their skills, development in their economy. So, well, nice question by Imansha Ipalwatta.
Thank you, Himansha. I follow up to the question. Now we do have another question. I myself did the Buddhist pilgrimage twice and experienced a huge transformation within me. I would like to know how can we measure such psychological transformation through any psychological metrics by Bodhicitta.
Oh,
Is
so
actually
wonderful.
a monk from Nepal.
Okay. So wonderful. First of all, paying reference to Bodhicitta Mante. So has you already done twice a pilgrimage? So there's some parameters. The parameters depends, as I mentioned, the parameters of Saddha. So as I already also said to you, what kind of Saddha it should be? It should not be a Saddha just because we are touched into it so much, also engrossed into it. No. Saddha, that this Saddha will try to develop a cultural and transformation. It can be into education, it can be into knowledge, it can to be into behavioral. The similar such kind of parameters, the metrics is the Saddha. Then what state of mind you give dana. From that purview also we can try to understand the metrics. What kind of patience, khanti, we have imbibed within us. Just going on pilgrimages doesn't matter. but what we learn from it. See, when, because the only thing which you miss around is the khanti. If the khanti is imbalanced, that khanti will certainly imbalance our saddha, imbalance our dana, imbalance our metta, imbalance our bhavana. So if khanti is balanced, so when, if we understand after going through a pilgrimage site for 40 days, 45 days, month or period of time, and when we come back and we doesn't listen to anyone, and our khanti is like turbulence, so we should understand we didn't do the pilgrimage. So only visiting the site is not important, but also the inner pilgrimage. So pilgrimage cycles move from two parallel. One is the outer pilgrimage and one is the inner pilgrimage. When both are balanced together, so the set metrics are the saddha, the dana, the khanti, the metta, the bhavana, and a teacher. What kind of teacher? The teacher is the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, the Tiratna. That as be a teacher. So if this is all together, so certainly there will be a transformation indeed, and that transformation will lead to humanistic approach, humanistic development within us, and that will reflect toward the society also. So thank you for the question, Bante.
Thank you so much. I think many countries have this kind of pilgrims, even in Europe. Last time I went to Italy, and Italy has an amazing network of pilgrim routes where we can walk. Trails are there everywhere where we can walk and visit those holy sites. And in England and in Europe, many other countries, they do also have this kind of ancient routes where we can actually go visit those holy sites. So I think in India now it's really growing, the industry. Like lots and lots of people, when they visit these places, people in the local area, they are really flourishing. They are really doing really well. I remember when we visit to some of those Buddhist sites, like in Buddha Gaya, for example, there are people who can speak Sinhala very well. Because lots and lots of people, thousands of Sri Lankans visiting all the time, so they speak Sinhala very well. And in Sarnath also we find, even in New Delhi, like in Paharganj, where a lot of people come, and it's close to the railway station, and we also do have a Buddhist pilgrimage rest and rest house there. So lots of people come, and businesses are happening. So it's wonderful to see, like even some Sinhala advertisements are there too. So I think, yeah, so this is a humanistic approach, as you mentioned. So it's a matter of practice, how we communicate with each other. Maybe I wonder, like Rahul, if you have also visited Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, we also have some places, what we call Sri Pada. It is said like the Buddha has visited there, and he marked his footprint. So it's a kind of testing for us. Like we have to really climb steep mountain, and so not
Yes,
everyone
I've been there.
can
I've been there.
climb up to that mountain. Yeah, so I think every country has, and Sri Lanka we call Atamasthana, we call Solosmasthana, like 8 holy places,
Correct.
16 holy places. So
16.
people used to walk, those days they used to walk with just walking, and later on they also use like bullock carts. Nowadays they have other modes of transportation. I'm sure in India they have like Rajasthan, what do you call it? Rajdhani Express, and maybe some of those
Rajdhani.
comfortable trains can also be there to help the tourists, and also maybe some uh, maybe uh, like different economy rates, hotels and other places, especially monks. I think if there are monks residing somewhere close to those sites, people will definitely be more enthusiastic. Like in other places, traditionally we see like more populated places, like very popular places like Buddha Gaya, Sarnath, and then Sravasti and Kusinagar and Lumbini. You see a lot of Buddhist monks are there. So I think it is also a good time for Indian Buddhist monks or other monks from different countries also having a base, so that the Buddhist community feel comfortable when you visit those places. Just a feedback. I hope that will also be
Yes,
helpful.
I would like to answer this one thing also to question to you on this aspect. Yes, yes. In Maharashtra, where are the Buddhist rock cut sites, right? Especially. So apparently, the Buddhist communities have built a huge vihara there. So people, if in case they visit this kind of Buddhist rock cut sites around the region, the Buddhist monks vihara are available there where they can interact with the noble sangha and spend some time there themselves. And with the help of them, they can also visit the sites. That was one thing to inform. And in India, we have a train called a special train only for the Buddhist pilgrims, that is called as Mahaparinibbana Express. The train which covers all the Buddhist sites in the northern part of India. And now this train is also touched to some kind of region like Orissa. This kind of train has touched to Gujarat or Maharashtra. So they are trying to cover the entire Buddhist trail, that is known as the by Mahaparinibbana Express, starting from Delhi. And yes, I've been to Sri Lanka in 2017 and also explored the Buddhist sites at Sri Lanka. Been to Anuradhapur, the Miyintale, Sigiriya, Dambula caves, uh, and all of the places which were important at Kandy, to universities at Javadhanapuri University is there. So wonderful place. So similar way how the Buddhist sites are restored in Sri Lanka and preserved. That was an unique transformation to revive in India. So as I mentioned, Annaga Dhammapala, who has been from Sri Lanka, gave a lot of effort to revive these Buddhist sites in India, and due to which we are still able to see the site in a glory form. So certainly Buddhist pilgrimage goes parallel, as I said, humanistic approach. But humanistic, as human, we need money, we need to develop ourselves, and everyone is depending on one another. So when the pilgrims come, the society develops, then society tries to donate much to the sangha. So the pilgrim is a factor. The pilgrimage is a factor which unites the upasika with the direct with the sangha. So both the community are parallel to each other with help of pilgrimage. Thank you, Vante.
Thank you so much, Rahul. I think it has been a long time, but we do have a few more questions too. But I think we have covered up almost everything regarding this topic, and really thank you. And yeah, Bodhicitta also has a comment. Thank you very much for Rahul Rao for the vivid and informative presentation, and especially Venerable Dr. Sumita for organizing such meaningful event. Thank you. And we have some questions from Indika and Navodaya as well, but I think for now it should be okay for us to call it a day, so that we can really want to thank everyone for joining and also helping. And I think it was very elaborate, and a lot of people are very enthusiastic about this topic. Very interesting, and I hope a lot of people will visit Maharashtra and other lesser frequented areas like Orissa and other places where more Buddhist sites are located. And hope this program was helpful to other people to learn more about this information, to share this information with the rest of the world. I think we are also earning some merit. And thank you so much, Rahul Rao, for your wonderful dedication and also your sharing of your wisdom, time, and energy. We really appreciate your contribution today, and we are looking forward to seeing you again in some more future events like this. And with that, we conclude. Before that, I think I would like to ask you if you have to say something before winding.
Certainly. Thank you, Venerable. And it was a great opportunity to interact on this platform and uh, give insight, especially on the Buddhist aspect of pilgrimage, or it can be education or culture. And certainly, the entire Dhamma USA is trying to propagate the teachings with a contemporary or interdisciplinary form. It can be to art, architecture, it can be into psychology, counseling, or into management. So this will certainly develop the peripheral understanding of the literature, not only from the teaching aspect, but how it can be implemented in different forms. So I'm thankful to the entire team once again. That's it. Ante.
Yes, thank you so much. With that, I would like to conclude. Yes, we do have this Thursday program, especially aiming at our lay practitioners and scholars, so that we can invite scholars from practitioners and scholars both from around the world. They can share their wisdom for the benefit of the community. And then we do have Sunday Dhamma Talk series that we have opened up for Buddhist monks and nuns from around the world, Salis and other bhikkhunis and monks from so many different countries. They are sharing their wonderful wisdom to benefit our community. And then we have Pali classes, we do have meditation, sutta discussions and chantings and many other places. Like tomorrow, Friday, we have started the Q&A session specifically to address many people's issues. Like they do have a lot of questions to ask, so we really want to help them. Hopefully that event also will be helpful. I know it is Saturday morning in India, Friday evening here means. So now, for example, it is Thursday night for you. It is Friday morning. I know a lot of people also have to go to work. And again, thank you, Rahul, for your wonderful commitment today. And we really enjoyed your topic, your entire presentation. And I would like to invoke blessings upon you with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. May you always be well, happy, healthy, safe. May all the people who joined us today also be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem. May all of us be able to learn the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, and eventually attain the final liberation, the supreme bliss of Nibbana. With that, we conclude. Looking forward to seeing you again with another event like this on Thursday again at the same time. So tune in and stay tuned, and wish you all a very happy day today with peace, happiness, and good health. Thank you. Good night and good day.
Thank you.